So let's start by talking about the thing that we came here to discuss, and that is what in the world is going on in Memphis with xAI, which, for those of you who don't know, is Elon Musk's AI company. He's got this thing called Grok, which, if you go on X Twitter, which hopefully you're still not going on there because it's a demonic place, but he's got this thing called Grok, and it's powering his new business, which is xAI, which is supposed to compete with all the other AI companies. But there's a part of it that's located in Memphis. Talk about what that is and what it's doing.
That's right. Okay. Look, see, once you start talking about them, then everything starts trying to mess
Starlink
up
comes
on
for
you.
you.
Starlink, there it is. But let me know because I can try and connect to some other things
You're
because I
good.
definitely want to have with you. But the reality is, it's just not a good day when you overturn on the news and it's Elon Musk is in your front yard, in your backyard, in your neighborhood. And many elected officials started to praise this as a really good thing. But people in our community were immediately cautious. Because we have seen corporations come in to exploit our community. And that's exactly what's happening here. And it's great we're doing this now because it's actually tomorrow's the 1 year anniversary since this project was announced in Memphis in 38109. And before I even talk about what he's doing with xAI, let's talk about our neighborhood. We have 17 toxic release inventory facilities surrounding our community, from Valero Oil Refinery to the Tennessee Valley Authority's combined cycle plant. We have a cancer risk that's 4 times the national average in this neighborhood. Both of my grandmothers, God rest their soul, died from cancer. We're one of the top zip codes in the entire state for pollution and kids having asthma. We're an asthma capital of the United States. We have an F in air quality. So we got some systemic problems that existed before Elon Musk and xAI decided that they wanted to come into our community. But since they arrived, they came with all these promises of jobs. They came with all the things that these corporations do. But one of the things that they also came with was gas turbines. And they were unpermitted, unregulated. They didn't get a single piece of paper giving them permission to do it, but they were not getting the enforcement from the Shelby County Health Department, from the mayors either, that would actually force them to protect our air. So now we started off with 15 to 18 turbines, and now it's 35 of them, polluting our air with nitrogen oxides, with formaldehyde, and many things that are hurting our community.
And so let's talk about the process of getting it. You said it's a 1 year anniversary of this project being announced. What were the steps taken? Was there a public comment period? Did your mayor, I know there's a county mayor and a city mayor, you're already smiling. Did they come to the community and say, hey, this thing's going would like to be in our community and here's what it's about?
Absolutely not. We knew nothing about this project. Many elected officials even were caught by surprise, but we later learned that elected officials and appointed officials actually signed non-disclosure agreements with xAI and Elon Musk to not talk about the project. Elect people who get tax money for their jobs signed non-disclosure agreements with the richest man in the world's company and decided that they did not have the responsibility to inform the community about this project. And so many of us, most of us, I would say, were completely caught off guard. And now that the community has organized and has galvanized, the mayor of Memphis in particular, Paul Young, is expending significant social and political capital to try and defend this project that is indefensible. I just got an invitation to a meeting of state leaders next week that he's trying to hold to convince us that this is actually a good idea. But where was this meeting beforehand? Where was the meeting with the community beforehand? They're meeting with pastors and clergy behind closed doors. You know these tactics. Where was that before this was announced? It didn't exist because our lives and our lungs are being auctioned off on behalf of Elon Musk. And it's wrong and it's immoral and it's unjust. And unfortunately, our political leadership in the city and the county, with the mayor in the county, Lee Harris, who has been completely quiet on this entire matter, has been hurting us. And now our health department, which is responsible for the Clean Air Act, has this permit that they have to approve or deny. And that we're pushing with everything we got for them to deny, to protect our right to clean air.
And so the promise of jobs is always the way that these kinds of projects come into communities, and more often than not, it's communities of color. This is where they like to locate. They don't locate them in the posh areas. They don't locate them in the wealthy areas. They locate them generally near Black people or near Indigenous people or brown people.
Mm-hmm.
But the promise of jobs is the trade-off that people are offered. How many jobs
Mm-hmm.
is this xAI plant going to produce?
They have said that it is going to produce maybe 200 jobs, and that 80% of them are people in Memphis. They won't tell us the listing of jobs, though. because I am convinced the majority of those jobs are janitorial and security staff jobs that are held by people who are in Memphis and Shelby County, which is a predominantly Black city. And that the images that I have seen of the xAI team does not reflect the demographics of our city or of our county. So these aren't jobs for us. They aren't going to be things that we are going to benefit from. We are being exploited. And this is a form of neo-colonialism of Black lower wealth, lower income communities due to the political, what I would say, malpractice of cowardice by people who are supposed to be protecting us. Like, there's a reason we have people who are in offices in a representative democracy, and it's so that they represent the people. But we are seeing, whether that be at the national level and all the way through the state level, and I experienced that in the state house. Now, right here locally in our city and our county, where we are being mistreated and we are consistently being run over for the profits of the world's richest man.
Is the mayor, Paul Young, is he Black?
Yes. And the mayor of Shelby County is also Black. And the director of the health department, Dr. Michelle Taylor, is also Black. But
I
it does
asked
no
that
good when we
question.
have these Black folks and we get the same results we would with white supremacists.
Right. And I asked that question very specifically because this form, and for those of you who are listening, thank you all for jumping into this live conversation with Representative Justin J. Pearson of the great city of Memphis in Tennessee. Um, this is what happens on the continent. As you well know, Representative, these AI companies have been building these kinds of facilities in African countries where they get African leaders, Black leaders, to go along with it in exchange again for money, for promises of investment. And there's sometimes some very tricky questions about whether the actual leaders are getting paid. And so it's scandalous. And a lot of these African countries are now saying, no, we don't want this. When they get new leadership, they say, we don't want to be poisoned in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. And so you're seeing these AI companies move those operations here. And then I'll also add that Donald Trump wants everything to be, made in America. And he wants to have factories and choking factories where people die young from black lung disease. He wants all that back. So they want them here. Trump wants everything to be here. So it's not shocking that there are Black leaders doing this. What's the pushback? What has been the pushback so far? I know your brother has been very much involved in it. I think another Elizabeth Booker, who people know is
Mhm.
Booker Squared online. There are lots of people who are doing activism. What's the pushback?
Yeah, I mean, the community is rising up in an extraordinary way. Elizabeth, people like Keyshawn Pearson, who's helping lead our efforts at Memphis Community Against Pollution. I mean, Young, Gifted, and Green with Latricia Adams. And then, can I be honest, there's this emergence of even younger leaders who really are inspiring me, and they creating their own organizations, Young Educated Minds, and the college students have a Tigers versus Pollution organization that they've built out. And so we are seeing the resistance building just so that we can preserve what should be a human right, which is the right to clean air. And what Mayor Young and Mayor Harris and the Chamber of Commerce are pushing is this idea that the only way that you're going to get any economic development is if you auction off your lungs. If you auction off your health, then you'll be able to see the progress that economic development promises. And it is very similar to what you said is happening across the continent of Africa. And we have lessons to learn there. And we also have a responsibility to be more engaged than we've ever been before.
Right. And so now what about the legislature where you serve? Are they involved in any way in the decision making?
I love my legislature.
And
I
they
love
clearly love you.
Yeah, exactly. Love the opportunity to serve, but man, you talking about some folks who don't give a single care about the people in District 86 in Memphis and Shelby County, who pass laws and regulations that hurt and harm Black people, that hurt and harm poor people, including poor white folks every single day. We're in session. Unfortunately, we're out of session now, so some of that hurt has stopped, but those laws are coming into effect in July 1st. And a lot of people, from the governor on down, we've had U.S. senators, a lot of our representatives have come out in support of Elon Musk and have come out in support of this project, saying this is what we need, this is the future that we need to live into. And it's just like, y'all don't live in the community.
Right.
Y'all don't. I'm the only state representative in 38109, the only one. And so the fact that they are all talking about it is just really frustrating to me, because I'm like, you are not proximate to the pain. You're not proximate to the struggles of the people in Boxtown and Westwood and West Junction and Walker Homes. And so I'm going to bring forward legislation that makes some things illegal, like public officials signing non-disclosure agreements with private companies. As you are taking taxpayer money to live your life, you are hiding things from taxpayers. And also to regulate data centers and their zoning and their placement, to stop the perpetuation of environmental racism that has become a hallmark of the way that this country has operated. And that's why it's no coincidence. And no one here is surprised, right, that a Black community was chosen and selected to be exploited in this way. But we have to do all that we can to advocate and raise our voices to the issues here.
What can people do to be helpful if we're not in Tennessee?
Thank you for asking that. We need as much support as possible of share this live, and share many of the articles and videos that are coming out on social media. A More Perfect Union just did a really powerful one. And we need to continue to share and show that this isn't just a Memphis problem. This is something that is going to continue to happen across the country. And if we get this wrong, if we don't fight back, if we don't stand up in Memphis, in Shelby County, this is going to be the way that this continues to spread. And so please, please, please continue to share. That's one thing. But second, join us. Stay informed and educated about what's going on at memphiscap.org. You can just type in your name, your email. We don't ask for a lot of information. We don't do a whole lot of spamming. And then for my own personal information is votejustinj.com. And I'm sharing a lot about what I'm doing as an elected official, because we need to start expecting more from the people who are in power. We need to expect more and expect better from them, especially in this moment in time where we're seeing the reduction of our rights, the reduction of democracy, the rise of mobocracy in the ways that it is. Our lives are quite literally on the line here.
And just to exit an exit question, I want to ask you about, there people are get frustrated because a lot of people came to know you on my old cable show and others, and all over MSNBC and CNN, as the three of you, the Tennessee Three, they called you. Yourself, Justin Jones, was not related to you, and the two Justins, right? And of course Gloria Johnson, who ran for Senate and didn't win. And I think a lot of people thought, well, when the three of you came forward, it would change Tennessee, particularly since young people were so excited, about you, and you were attracting so much energy around the guns issue, protecting people in schools. How do you change a state like Memphis where there is young energy, but there's not necessarily a will to vote differently?
That's a really good point. We have to expand the elect and engage the electorate more intentionally. The reality is, Tennessee before our expulsion is not the Tennessee that we are living in now. I think there is much more awareness and engagement about what is happening with the reduction of rights in states like Tennessee than there has been before. And we are seeing more young people who are engaged in the movement than have ever been. And so there's reason to have hope. And yet, I think Charlene Carruthers had this quote adapted from another person, but it says, "Power concedes nothing without organized demand." Frederick Douglass, right? Like you have to have organized demands, and I believe right now is the time for us to organize. We have to give credit to the ancestors of the civil rights movement and before, who were very organized in their institutions, their organizations, their messaging, in their coordination to fight back. And that's what I think is happening now with the nonprofits that we have, but as well as in this movement for justice rooted in love to build political power that helps to create the change that we need to see.
Have you thought about running for statewide office yourself?
Serving District 86, Joy, is the joy of my life. And I'm just going to keep trying to do that as best as I can.
I think if you did, there would be a national movement to try to get you to win, because, definitely we can see your dedication to your community. We so appreciate you, Representative Justin J. Pearson. Keep the fight up. Please keep me informed. You have my cell, so you can text me, let me know, throw up the red flag if you need anything. If you ever need my platform or anything I can do for you, I got you. Thank you, good brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And y'all, please stay in touch with us, memphiscap.org, and also on Instagram as well.
Thank you very much. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining the live. We appreciate it. You've got all the data and all the info. I'm also going to put it on the page to make sure that you can reach out and you can support. This is a big deal. These AI plants are polluting the communities where they exist. There are ways to do AI. If you care about AI and you want that technology to survive, there are definitely ways to do it without killing people and without hurting people and giving people deadly asthma, et cetera. And so we have to think and do better. When you know better, you do better. Thank you, good brother. I appreciate you.